Today we're talking about your personal energy blueprint, which literally means we are going to create your one-page business plan and imprint it in you. It's going to become part of your DNA. So this is the first step of that. And I always think if you can't design your business on one page, then it's too complicated. It's kind of my philosophy. I mean, sometimes I work with companies where we do produce big business plans and they're important and they have their place in the world. But for you as solo consultants, it's like, just keep it really simple. And this is a fantastic tool for doing that. And again, the background is that I knew that if I was going into business again, it had to be simple. It had to be simple. It had to be easy. It had to be different. It had to be some new paradigm way of operating, because I was never going back to the kind of levels of burnout and hours that I used to do. And I've proven in the last couple of years that you can have success this way. So it's really exciting. So let me just share this for you. Here we go. This is the Business Energy Blueprint. So what you're looking at is, again, I will show you mine just to make this make sense, but your purpose is everything. You know, if you're doing a strategy session with anyone, it always starts with just the biggest, wildest vision. And this is where you get to be really creative. And vision and mission, and they're words that are known out there in the world, and you may well have that. So I invite you to transfer that here. But your manifesto, that's a whole nother conversation. That is like where we really use storytelling and put it on steroids and have an amazing time. And this is what really will make you incredibly magnetic. So it's not just knowing your purpose, but it's how you send it out to the world. Which brings us to the second column, which I used to call marketing and I now call connection, but it is a marketing column. And these are the channels you're using. So this is like the tech and the processes. This is the networks that you hang out in. This is the rooms you choose to be in, such as the room we're all in together. And the tech platforms are the tech you will use. So it's really documenting this in a simple way. And if there's too much, it's probably too complex, is usually what I would recommend. But I'll show you a practical example in a moment. The services and products is where you literally list what you do. So if you sell one product or one service, you will just put one thing down here. But if you have a few, then you can list them all here. These actually have a direct correlation to over here, as you'll see in the practical example I give. So this is where we document all the benefits, and the prosperity is beyond the income. I'll focus on the income in the example because it really, people understand that, but we're going to be talking about prosperity in ways beyond money as part of being regenerative business. So let me just give you an example of my business energy blueprint. And that will hopefully help it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so here's, which I am due to update. Okay, here we go. I find it really powerful to say what your name is in the beginning of something. And you want some kind of statement at the top. And this is not necessarily your marketing wrap about what you do, but it might be. But this is me. I help people change to be a part of a new paradigm movement for a healthy planet, a new way of connecting in this world globally, and a whole new way of looking at prosperity. So, you know, this can change. This is a living, breathing document. So this is not a fixed thing. So don't try to get this right. Just get what is feeling true for you at the moment. Your vision, of course, is like the ultimate vision that you can imagine. And the mission is how you do it. So this is where I actually mentioned that I do this by working in groups or personally with people and talking about the kind of services I provide. So your mission is how you do something. The vision is just the big wild idea of how it might happen. And it doesn't have to be something that exists in the world already or be proven as realistic before. One thing you'll know about me is, as a pioneer, I love supporting people with wild visions that don't make any sense. So really go for it there with your vision. And then I tend to put the personal mission there, and that's connected to what I would call the manifesto. So your manifesto is just a really magnetic way of expressing what you want. Now you'll see there that I haven't written how many clients I want and how much money I'm getting, that kind of thing. I sort of don't quite think that's the place for this. What we're going to do that in other places. But if my goal is exponential expansion at the right rate, at the right time, that is for me better than putting numbers on things. That works for me personally. So really, and this is really interesting. A quick story the other day. Someone said, it's like you just have this ripple of inspiration and then I share it with someone else and that ripples out again. And I said, let me just show you my business energy blueprint. And I showed her that I actually had that written down. So it's really powerful writing this stuff down. You never know where it's going to lead. So just be honest and true to you. Don't let it make any sense. And you don't need to share this with anyone. I'm only sharing it with you because it just helps it make sense. So have a lot of fun with that. Do your best. Don't give yourself a hard time around perfection with that. Just have fun with it. But be sort of almost cautiously, bravely wild with whatever you want. Okay, because it's amazing how things end up coming true. With the marketing and the connecting section, this is just like, you know, very clear about the kind of people that I want. So I don't have to talk about a particular industry or a particular age group, which is a typical avatar exercise. But it's anyone in the healing sector, and healing for me includes, you know, healing the planet. So that's often in business. Okay, so this is where we sort of write about how we connect with people. And as you can see, I've got some very practical things here. Now, when I first wrote this down, I had double the amount of things. And that's where I realized, oh, I got too much going on. I usually like to write the costs down as well, because it's good. Down here, you'll see I've got it, you know, you want to add up your costs. I probably need to review this actually, but that looks about right. And then the amount of hours you want to work. And the reason we do that is because there's no point if, let's say you had to do 40 hours of Zoom meetings before you'd done anything else, then obviously you're going to be working 60, 70-hour weeks. So this is the part where you really plot what's viable. And you'll see in a minute how the numbers start to make sense. But at this stage, just talking about how you're going to probably connect with people. And where I would update this, which is remiss of me now, is where I'd actually probably name some networks I'm in. So I've got the RSA, the VBN, the World Sustainability Collective. There's some very particular networks I would write down that I connect with. So you can get really specific here. Definitely need to update this. Okay, then we come to the programs. Now, this is where we start to see that the business makes sense, because every business has to have a business case. It has to be financially viable. If this turned out, if I had just like, you know, 20 different programs and they took, you know, all took 5 hours each, it's not a realistic business. So I'll often start with this here, which is like, as long as I know there's a rough 5K a month coming in, I'm really happy. But it's usually sort of around 10K. So somewhere between the two. So I sort of start off with a, you know, an approximate goal of what's based on the fact that I am, you know, myself and my partner, whatever financial responsibilities I have to other members of my family. It's going to cover things. It's going to save a bit. And I just, you know, I sort of encourage you to just be quite broad with those figures. Like, we're not going to get into VAT yet and all the obvious things around costs. This is not the place to do that. This is a place where you can just, with a bit of professional guessing, know how much income you're probably going to need. And then we break it down. So for me, it's like I'm doing a couple of strategy sessions a week. So I actually document that 2 a week. Okay. There's no use requiring to do 10. I'd be exhausted doing 10 of those a week. And where it doesn't become financially viable, that's when you start going around putting up your numbers. That's a different exercise I do with you. I'll be doing that with you one-to-one. But I do want you to all have this completed and bring it to our strategy sessions. So I've got, there's one of my courses. That's how it looks at the moment, but that's actually changing. That's about to come an evergreen course. So that'll change at some point this year, certainly by the middle of the year. Private clients. So these are clients that I work with all year long. And so I know, by the way, I've written here per week. You may want to do it per month, per quarter, per annual. So, you know, make this work for you. These are 2 groups I run here, and business retreats. I put them down because now that there's no more lockdown, I'm planning those now, which is great, but they haven't happened yet. So I don't have numbers or figures or hours. And then I just drop down here around the leverage that will be created around these courses growing. So I sort of mention it, but I don't have to map it all out here. And then I can look at it and go, you know what, that looks really good fun to me. That's realistic. These are some numbers around what that might mean. And this is how I can hit my goals. Okay, so you can also do this with things you're not doing yet. So let's say you're wanting to do this, but you're not doing 2 a week, then you still put it down because that's all part of a viable business that you're working towards. Yeah. So I want you to now go to your work you do, like number of clients, associate work you do, just keep it really, really simple. So like if you're doing a lot of one-to-one work, just kind of write down, 20 clients a week or whatever it is that you're doing. And you can do this for what you're doing now and what you're intending to do with the transitioning enterprise as well. But I want you to do this on one page because it keeps it simple. Even some of the probably most famous entrepreneurs in the world, like Richard Branson, say that they, wrote their business. If you can't write the business on the back of a serviette, they don't do it. And I really believe that. If you just can't sort of quickly do some numbers and know that it's viable, and the numbers have to include the hours. So a lot of people forget that part. So they sort of go, yeah, I can do this and it's worth this. And then they're working 60 hours a week and they're wondering why. So in creating a regenerative business from the foundations up, we need to take that compost, mix it all up and go, okay, green shoots on this, this, and this only. So if you just want to work 5 hours a week, we have to build a business that's viable around that. Not because you want to, and it's trying to have some kind of lifestyle, but actually the lifestyle might be because you have family commitments or caring commitments in some way, or you may have health issues where you can't work more than that. These are all good reasons to create a business at the viable hours and the viable costs. So that is super simple. I want you to have a go at doing your business energy blueprint. And I promise you, it's a blueprint. Okay, what you put there is what will become. Okay, and I have proved that for myself and other people over and over. So I'll be working on that with you individually, but they're the first two frameworks, the personal energy imprint and the business energy blueprint. So get starting on those. And once we've perfected those, we will get moving on some other frameworks. So can't wait to see how you go with yours. Bye-bye.